Hi, everyone. Welcome to our session of Women Shaping the Future of Travel. We're continuing this session because it came from one of our podcast episodes that we released earlier this year. And the discussion was around the perspective of women leading in travel and their experiences. And I'm really happy that we get to continue the conversation and have Iris back, and then also have Dana join us as well. Welcome, Iris. Welcome, Dana.
Thank you.
So nice I'm going to let them introduce themselves. But first of all, I wanted to just ask you, when you introduce yourselves, if you can share your name, your title, your company, a brief description of what you do, and also where you're located. And Iris, if you want to start, that'd be great.
Thanks, Jen. Hi, everyone. My name's Iris Serbanescu. My pronouns are she and her. I'm originally from Canada, but based in Barcelona, Spain. I'm relocated here last year. I am the founder and CEO of wmnsWORK Tourism Accelerator, which is the industry's first business accelerator specifically for women and non-binary entrepreneurs who work in tourism. And our mission is to flatten the industry knowledge and the entrepreneurship learning curve for early stage women and non-binary owned businesses in this industry. I also run a representation agency called By Iris, where we connect tourism suppliers with buyers in our sector. So that's me. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having us.
Great. Thanks, Iris. Dana?
Hi, everybody. My name is Dana Lay. I'm the founder and CEO of Wander Health. We are an international concierge membership. And what we do is that we connect travelers to English-speaking doctors providing urgent care services, especially when you're abroad and you need in-person care. I'm located in Los Angeles, but I do run around the world often. Last year, I flew on 80 flights. So lots of traveling.
Oh my goodness. Thanks so much for both of you being here. So I'm going to start off with our first question. Both of you are entrepreneurs, and I'd love for you to share your experiences in starting your businesses and any challenges that you experienced. And it's a bit of a two-parter, because also what I'd like to know is, how do you feel AI could have helped you then or has helped you now? And Iris, do you want to go first?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, we only have 25 minutes, but I could go on forever about the challenges that I experienced when I first started my business. I would say the biggest challenge for me was the idea that I had to do everything myself. I kind of underestimated the amount of time that it would take and the amount of energy, most importantly, that it would take to launch two businesses, both service-based businesses, both dependent on my time and my expertise. And so I really feel like I learned this lesson of coming up against the wall of being time strapped multiple times and burning out before I was able to step back and be like, okay, what's in my zone of genius? Like, what should I be doing? And what are the things that I should be either automating or delegating? And we say in wmnsWORK, automate before you delegate. So definitely, like, how could I have used technology to make my life easier and focused on the things that I was really good at, that the business needed me to be really good at, instead of just looking at my business saying, I can do all of this, so I should do all of this. And I think that's something that solo entrepreneurs come up against a lot, especially when you're bootstrapping your business, which means self-funding it. What was interesting, like a stat that I learned early on in my career, was that women get 2% of venture funding globally, industry agnostic, not just specifically in tourism. So that means that most women-owned businesses are not venture-backed. They don't have the capital to scale quickly. They're left doing a lot of things on their own. And so bringing that back to AI and technology really would have been great to have learned the tools that I could use to automate early on in my business, to save myself some time, to save myself some energy, and to actually make my business better. Like, just because I can do something doesn't mean I'm the best at it or that I should be doing it. So that was a hard-earned lesson from the beginning. And I think AI has a place now in solopreneurship moving forward, and seeing how we can streamline everything we're doing for the better.
Awesome. Thanks, Iris. Dana?
Yeah, Iris, I definitely agreed. I feel like the first few months of me starting my own startup too, I was just thinking, oh, like, I'm bootstrapping it like a lot of some founders do. And I thought I just had to do everything. And I'm like, oh, maybe I just need to learn it and then give it off to somebody. But there's certain functions that it's a better use of my time not to be the one doing it. Like, the back and forth with scheduling, right? Like let Calendly do that, or let Google like Calendar do that, all those things. Or like even like with hiring as well. Like it was a few months before I like hired somebody to help me with like some of the administrative work. And once I did, I was like, wow, I should have done this like way like in the beginning, honestly, because it helped freed up a lot of the time of doing more of like those repetitive tasks. And now AI has been able to do that and support that in certain functions, with like, of course, like us, like humans being able to like look over the work and, review it. But at the least, like somebody gives you like or somebody, AI gives you the copy already, and it helps you at least jumpstart the content that you're creating, or the cold message that you're about to send, or anything like that. So one of like the challenges that I personally experience is that my background has always been in the healthcare innovation space, and travel is an industry that I had to learn a little bit more about. Um, when I was looking online, looking at like different communities, like just kind of searching like through all the resources in the databases and all that stuff, like there wasn't a lot that I could find. I actually had to talk to people who were already in the space, other founders that understood the landscape and could tell me where to go, what to do, like how I can get in front of a specific group of people that I'm looking for, because it's not necessarily posted online anywhere. And I guess I could say that for most industries, but because travel was a newer industry that I like entered into, it was a black box for me. So being able to think a little bit more strategically and network with the right people had helped me get through that. And now I'm here talking at a travel conference. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Dana. I think you both touched on the same point, which I think is really important. And that's like sticking to your area of expertise and outsourcing, delegating, or figuring out ways AI can help you with some of those other areas so that you can really focus on what you're best at. So after hearing sessions yesterday and this morning, how do you plan to use AI in your business going forward? And like, is there any specific tools, or is there anything you've taken away with that you're already looking at, or what are you gonna walk away with? And Iris, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I think the number one thing I'm going to walk away with here is patience about the process, patience and trust in the process of integrating AI into my business. It's not a quick fix. I think we tend to maybe look at technology as a quick fix, but it requires so much upfront work that we have to be willing to put in, because we see what we gain at the end of this whole process. So what I'm going to do after this is, like the talks were amazing. Like I just learned so much from so many people over the last day and a half. So I'm going to look at like what tools are out there for me to actually use in my business that are relevant for me. What use cases do I have in my business that match those tools? And kind of then just like mapping out the processes of, is this an automate or is this a delegate? And maybe, as somebody suggested in the chat here, like Alex said, it's not, isn't it sometimes delegate before you automate? 100%. Like I actually did all the processes in my business before I delegated so that I could learn them. And so now I know, like, this is what I can automate. This is what I need a human to do. And so it's kind of like a messy exercise but I'm just going to sit down with like 10 cups of coffee on a Saturday and probably just like get a whiteboard out and figure out how to do this, make it fun, invite friends as well. It's always more fun to do things in community. Yeah. But yeah, there's just so many tools out there. We really need to sift through and figure out what works for our businesses.
Great. Thanks, Iris. How about you, Dana?
So there's a lot of use cases that I've been able to use AI for. That has been helpful. One of the more costly things as when you start a startup is the legal component of things. So generally, some startups don't know where to start because they don't have that particular background. So they end up hiring counsel that might be too expensive, might be kind of telling you like what you need and app today, but that might not be the case. And like only kind of giving you a path of like, yeah, we can draft up the whole thing for you and then charge you an arm and a leg for it. And I'm only talking from that early stage startup perspective, and I've been on the bootstrap side too, where you need to be hacky and you need to figure out how you can maximize the value that you're getting with like legal counsel, and also minimize the costs. And so AI has helped me with like starting points for contract templates too. It's not, it's not truly legal advice or like exactly in the legal jargon that like your lawyer might use, but it's a start. So being able to just have a structure and send it to your lawyer and say, hey, like, put this together, adding your own tweaks to it. Are you able to review it and add comments? And that's going to cost less than like them completely drafting a whole new agreement just for you. And that has helped a lot with decreasing costs. And then also even like with like generating certain like prompts for brainstorming sessions that we've had with potential customers, with potential partners, like thinking of like outside the box to how to really convey your message a little bit better. Of course, like, I can talk about my company all day, every day, but sometimes it's nice to hear and see and read somebody else interpreting it differently, just to help you also readjust and figure out like, okay, like I can take bits and pieces of that and edit my own pitch to make it better.
For sure. Thanks, Dana. I think you highlighted a couple of key points as well, because we've heard a lot over the summit of people using ChatGPT to refine or like a starting point for their marketing messages. But I find the idea of using that to help your brainstorming really interesting. So thanks for sharing that. In terms of your businesses, what do you think will be the workforce impact of AI, and what skills do you think will be required? I know Zach talked a little bit about this on his panel earlier, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. And Dana, if you want to go first, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I think that it will just be helpful. I think nowadays people are now getting used to AI because of ChatGPT, and it's like a very consumer friendly product. But what I've been seeing is that it can really help aid in the process of anybody just working in the field. Again, my perspective is from the startup side of things. So I know with like the new, the premium version of ChatGPT, you're able to create slides and product pictures and all these other things without even hiring like a model, a photographer, a team to like produce like the content that you need, or even just like generate like prompts and ideas for the like I think on the creative side of things for marketing campaigns and whatnot. So there's a lot of like opportunity in AI, and it's here to really aid humans do their job better, not necessarily take away from their job. And you can then also optimize on like your capacity on doing the things that you're good at. And yeah.
Thanks, Dana. Iris?
Yeah, I think from a high level, companies are really thirsty for people that know how to use AI, not just replacing human functions with AI, but also like people that know how to leverage it. So one of the quotes I heard in a previous session that somebody called out was like, AI is not going to take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI might. And that's just like, that sums it up for me really well. If you can... if you're part of the workforce and you're like thinking about where to strengthen your skills, this is like the internet, like when did the internet come out? Oh God, I'm so old, whatever, 30 years ago. This is really like, we're on the brink of something crazy right now, crazy new. And if you can learn how to use it, you'll be leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. So yeah, from a workforce perspective, I think the bar is getting higher in terms of using tech. Unfortunately, does that also mean like people aren't going to be hiring for experience as much? Like somebody that has 30 years of experience will be less qualified than somebody that has 5 years but knows how to use AI accordingly. I'm not sure, but it's something interesting to think about. So yeah.
Totally. And I agree. That's definitely been the theme. We've heard that. I know Richard said it in his presentation yesterday. We've heard it through many other presentations as well about, people aren't going to be replaced, but people who know AI might get for a little bit further ahead than others, for sure. So I'm going to go back to my first question, and this one's a bit similar because being that you're entrepreneurs, I'm also kind of keen to share some of your experience. And on the opposite note, I want to know if you've had any positive surprises you experienced while running your business or starting your business. Iris, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So yeah, lots of positive experiences as well. I think the biggest thing that resonated with me in the first year of launching wmnsWORK was how the version of the product that I had in my head versus the version of the product that I actually put out to the market, product being the program, were quite different. But and in my mind, it was never good enough that first year. But the feedback from the market and like my clients and customers and the people that are actually using it were like, oh my God, we're so grateful that this exists. Like, had you never launched this minimum viable product, we would never have had this experience and grown as business owners and learned about the industry and all this stuff. So my positive takeaway from like the first year of entrepreneurship was really that like people are more forgiving than you think. And it's better to just ignore that version in your head for a while, because that's going to be realized maybe 5 years down the road. Don't let it stop you from actually taking action now, because it is good enough.
Awesome. Great advice, Iris. Thank you. Dana?
I second that for sure. I think that generally as women too, we want to produce something that is, incredible and perfect. And, for the most part, it's like, it's never going to be perfect. And whatever you put out there, it's going to change. And like, you need to put it out there so then you can get feedback from from customers or people to just like be able to understand, what needs to be iterated on. So I think that that's like a big piece. Like I definitely would kind of double down on that too, is that like just create and push it out and like be confident that you know your stuff, and people are like, you've done your research and people are going to line up and actually utilize it.
Awesome. Thanks, Dana. That was really, really great advice as well. So last question for our session, just because we're running close to our time. On that note, are there any key takeaways you'd like to leave with our group today? And Iris, if you want to start.
This is a bit controversial, I think, but don't over AI your business to the point that you're not doing the things that you love and that give you energy. I think energy is our most critical resource as entrepreneurs, more than time. And if you are if you're outsourcing or letting AI do things that formerly were like the things that made you start your business that you loved, then you're not doing yourself any favors, even if it's more efficient. So think critically about how you introduce AI into your business and do it with other people. Find a group of people that are interested in learning more about AI and do it together, because it's way more fun, way less intimidating, and you'll probably come up with some pretty interesting use cases together.
Excellent. Thanks, Iris. I especially love your point about doing it together. I think that that's a really great takeaway for everyone to consider as they're going forward. And Dana?
So I know this panel is like Women Shaping the Future of Travel, like that is the title. And I think that in a lot of the industries and a lot of the meetups, the events that I go to, I generally don't look like what everyone else looks like, how everyone else looks like. And I think that, you should be proud and bold and show up and be the smartest person in the room, because people are going to stare and they are going to look over, but like you can showcase that you're meant to be there. So I'd say just really like be confident that, we are women like shaping the future. We are women that are change makers, and we're here paving the path for others to that look like us to show up in the future.
Thanks, Dana. Wonderful, wonderful advice. And both of you, thank you so much for joining me to have this conversation. I don't know if you've seen the chat, but everyone's loving everything you're saying. So thanks so much. We look forward to seeing all the great things that we know are going to continue to come from both of your companies. And again, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.